Hello, I'm Andrew Halligan and I'm joined by Tom Rain. You might recognise us from the finish line on YouTube. But today we are here to explain how betting exchange works. And so sit back, relax and follow these few tips on the road to profit. So Tom, there's been a lot of stigma around betting exchanges and the fear for normal punters. Can you explain the difference between betting exchanges and the traditional bookmakers?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So I suppose the main difference is with a betting exchange compared to a traditional bookmaker is with a traditional bookmaker, the only bet you can place with them is for your selection to win. You have to be for your selection. You can't profit from it losing. So on a betting exchange, you can actually lay your horse or your football team to lose. So if you think Man United are going to lose against Liverpool, which, let's face it, we all do this year.
That's no.
You can go onto the betting exchange and you can lay Man United. So you can effectively be the bookie. That's what I mean by lay. You are the bookmaker. Somebody else will have an amount of money that they want to place on Man United. Say it's €10, and I think they will lose. I will come on and I will take the €10 bet, and I'll effectively act as the bookie. I'll accept some odds, and you can be the bookmaker. So that's the big difference between betting exchanges and traditional bookmakers. The main other thing is the price. Mm-hmm. Prices are in decimals, and there is a commission based on that.
So for people that don't know, what's the difference between decimal odds and fractional odds? What way would you read them differently to traditional fractions?
So your traditional odds are say 2 to 1. That's put up on a bookmaker's site as 2/1. 2 to 1 is a fraction. On the betting exchange, it's like the tote. It includes your stake. So 2 to 1 on the betting exchange is 3.0, so it's 3.0. Mm-hmm. So that represents your odds of your horses or your football team or your tennis player's chance.
Mm-hmm. Right, so we start off simple. Tom just gave us a quick rundown of how it works, so we're going to break it down into points for you. So we're going to start off on how we actually place a bet on a betting exchange. So, the age-old simple question, how do we place a bet on a betting exchange? Is it as simple as you would if any traditional bookmaker is just simply deposit, register, and take it from there?
Yeah, betting exchanges, to sign up to them, they're exactly the same as any other bookmaker. You'll go on, you'll fill in your form to sign up. It's exactly the same registration process. Some of them have special offers, as I think we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. And when you signed up, you deposit your money, you can go on and then that's yours to bet with. Just on some of the deposits, deposits and offers, we'll put them down below the video, I think, won't we? Some of the offers are really good. I know they're trying to become more competitive, like traditional bookmakers. So make sure when you sign up, do use the link and get the offer that you're entitled to. Every little bit helps.
So in regards to placing a bet on the betting exchange, I see when you go on to, say, you want to back a horse to somewhere, say Tremor for all the world. So you have your lay side and your backing side. So you have your blue and your red side. So which one do you go for in that? Obviously the blue one would be for your traditional just, I want to back this horse to win. Yeah,
so if you want to place a back bet on a betting exchange, as Andrew said, you'll have the two sides. You'll see 3 columns of numbers, and underneath them there'll be more numbers, which are the amounts of money that you can bet at that given price. So if I want to place a back bet, I would go on, and let's use a horse for example. I would go to the race, I would go to the horse, and I would click on the price, the biggest price available, and I will click on the selection. Exactly then, like a bookmaker, it will come up on a betting slip at the side of the screen. Mm-hmm. I'll enter my stake and I'll click bet. In those terms, that's exactly the same as using a traditional bookmaker.
Oh, it sounds very simple.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I think the numbers put some people off. The numbers are literally, so say you wanted to have €10 on a horse and there was only €2 available. All anybody wanted to lay you was €2 at that price. You may then have to take a lesser price to get your full €10 matched. That's where the 3 different columns come into it, and the different amounts at the different prices. But yeah, it's exactly the same to place a bet. Click on your selection, click on the odds, and it will come up on the side of the screen exactly the same as a bookmaker.
So now we will jump to what people fear, the lay side. So stay tuned and we'll go through how to lay a bet on a betting exchange. So, Tom, this is where it gets complicated.
It's not.
Well, I think it is.
It's really...
So, I don't really use betting exchanges. So, for someone like me, explain to me how, if I don't like a horse and I want to lay him to lose, how do I do that and how do I go about it?
Yeah, so as I was using the example earlier of Liverpool and Man United, we are obviously quite into our horse racing. We'd often have a discussion and we'd say, I don't think that horse will win today.
Yeah.
So how you can capitalise on that, we had the discussion earlier on the race, and instead of having to find a bet against it, you can literally go on to the betting exchange, be the bookmaker yourself, and lay somebody a bet on that horse. We've all done it down the pub, haven't we? We said, I bet you a tenner that gets beat, or I bet you a tenner on this, and your mate fancies it, you don't fancy it, you bet a tenner. That's laying at even money.
So if you're laying a bet, can you set the odds that you want to lay the horse at? So say he's in the traditional sports market, he's even money. Can you say lay him at 2-1, 3-1, whatever you want for whatever liability you have?
You can pick whatever odds you want. The difficulty there becomes in getting it matched.
Okay.
So if you were to put up, say you wanted to, say your horse was, as you said, evens, but you wanted to lay it at 4 to 5 or 1.8, you probably wouldn't get matched because people would want to lay more than people would want to lay close to even money.
Yeah.
Something to note on betting exchanges is that you will often have to lay above the odds of the bookmaker, because the bookmaker will always keep their odds below the betting exchange. That's because they have to have their edge in, and that's how bookmakers make money. The betting exchange is as close to a perfect market as we will get, because it's people betting against each other. To lay your bet, you'll go on to the opposite side to the back selection, and exactly the same again as your bookmaker. You'll click on the price. There will be prices already set there that for you that people want to have their bet on it. So you don't even have to set your own price. You can just go on and say, yep, someone wants €10 on it, 2 to 1, I'll lay them that €10. You click on the price, the box comes up at the side of the screen, just like it does in the bookmaker for your betting slip. You enter your liability, you enter your stake, which will then calculate your liability. So if I want to lay a horse at 2 to 1 and somebody wants €10 on it, I've got to have €20 in my account.
Okay.
So if I've got €20 in my account, I will put 10 in the box as their stake. It will come up as my liability, which would be €20. Click confirm, that's your bet placed.
Right, so on the other side of it, which I say confuses me, say your lay bet wins, you win the bet. Is there a commission? What way does the commission then come into play from a betting exchange?
Yeah, so if the horse loses and you win the bet, then you'll win your €10, which is the stake that you offered somebody, less your commission. There are varying amounts of commission out there. There's some really good offers at the minute. Keep an eye when you sign up. Some betting exchanges are actually offering you to pick what commission you want. Some of them have a 0% or a 2%, or some of them have 5%, but they'll give you a free bet every month. If you pick, say it used to be 5%, it's now you can get around 2%. But say it was 5%, they will take out of your €10, they'll take 5% as their commission. So that means that you'll get your 5% deducted.
Yeah, explains much of that.
Yeah.
Well done. Right, so Tom just touched on it a few minutes ago about how you get your perfect market. So on the next part, we're going to explain how bookmakers use betting exchanges to create the perfect market. On to the part about how bookmakers use the betting exchange to influence their market. So how do they use that? Do they use this to calculate like their liabilities themselves of the way they price up races and football matches?
Yeah, they will follow the betting exchange to give them an idea of what the correct price should be. You may not realise if you haven't used the betting exchange, but that's impacting the odds that you're betting on with the bookmaker. So the bookmaker will look at what price the horse is. As I've said, this is the betting exchange is two individuals betting against each other. So it forms as close to the perfect market as we can find. The bookmaker then follows that price essentially. If that price contracts on Betfair or BetDAC, that price will come in. The bookmaker's price will then come in as well, because they need to be below the perfect market to make an edge themselves. They need to offer you a less of a price to be able to get their edge. This is why betting exchanges, like, that's where the value is.
Yeah.
Because they're always, I say always, it might sound ridiculous, but it is well up at the high 90% of the time that those prices are above the bookmakers. Like, that's how they operate. They keep an eye on the exchanges, they alter their prices. So if you're betting on the betting exchange against somebody else, and if you can get a very good commission rate of 2% or around that figure, then you've got a massive angle over a bookmaker who's adding in their profit margin into the odds that they're offering you. So I'm not quite sure what the figures are, but it's a high 90% chance that you're going to get a better price on the betting exchange than you will with a bookmaker.
So is it fair to say then that majority of new people coming into betting are starting to veer towards betting exchange just because there's a lot more value to be had?
Yeah, I think so. And as I said, like, you'll see it, you'll get the better price on there. And now the commission has got a lot more competitive, and now it's come down to, you've got 0% offers, you've got 2% offers, and once you can bet at those commission stakes, you're getting much better value on the exchanges. The thing to note as well is, I know some people have had problems with this. I've had problems with it in the past as well, is bookmakers restricting your accounts. Betfair, the more money you bet on Betfair, on BetDAC, S-Markets, whatever exchange you choose, the more you bet, the more money they make, because they are based on commission. So if you're gonna get into this seriously, and if you're gonna want to bet on a regular basis, this is probably the angle to go for you, because there's a lot of liquidity there in most of these markets, especially closer to the off, and you can get as much as somebody wants to lay you on. But I know some of my accounts are restricted to like €1 each way. And stuff.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, but they are. But it's a sad reality, and it happens to a lot of people these days. And not even for the right reasons. You could back 3 horses, and if their price comes in, even if they don't win, you can get your accounts restricted. Yeah. The exchanges are not like that. They don't restrict your accounts at all. So even if it's just €20 there to get your bet on, if that's what you want to bet, that you should find €20 of a bet there on the betting exchanges.
Explained well again. So there's another part that, well, we keep for the next section. I want to know how you trade on a betting exchange. So Tom, another kind of query I have is, how do you trade on a betting exchange? What is it?
Yeah, we've all heard of traders sat in rooms in London and the major cities around the world, and the New York Stock Exchange, and it sounds like it's far from reality anyway. I can never picture it, and the markets are always too complicated for me to get my head around. But betting on a betting exchange and trading on a betting exchange is quite simple, really. If you think a horse's price is going to come in, then you can back it at a higher price,
Okay.
and then you can lay at a lower price, and the bid in the middle is your profit margin.
Okay.
So if I back a horse at 5-1, and I think its price is going to come in, and it comes into 3-1, the bid in between is my profit. There is then a green up button, basically, which will let you cash out and have your bet. Say you were going to make €5 on that horse,
Okay.
and lose nothing on everything else because you've backed it at a high price, laid it at a low price. You can then spread your €5 profit between every horse, so you're guaranteed to make a profit on that race.
So, just so I understand and people at home understand, if you back a horse 5-1, but you think it's going to shorten in the market and goes to 3-1, you then lay him at 3-1,
Yeah,
and then you take the profit in between the 3 and the 5-1.
yeah, that's your profit. It depends on how much you have on, or how much your back is, how much your back stake was, to how much you're gonna make. But it doesn't matter if you do it to €2, if you do it to 200 million euros.
Yeah.
It's the same theory that if you back it at 5-1, you lay it at 3-1. There's your profit margin. We could get into a lot. There's a lot more complicated ways of trading. There's people who make hundreds of thousands a year out of it and do it for a living. They don't actually bet on the horses. They just trade the exchange markets like you would trade a stock exchange. It's fascinating, really, some of it. But yeah, that's the theory behind it. If you, at the same time, you can do it the other way around. So, we were saying if you back at 5-1,
Yeah.
and lay it 3-1. If you think the horse's price is going to go out, you lay it at 3-1, and then price goes out, and you back it at 5-1. So yeah, it's quite interesting. In running, I think we have it down, but that's a way you can trade. If you know your horse is a front runner, a lot of the prices contract, so you can back it before the off, and then in running, its price comes down, and you lay it at the lower price, and then you take the profit.
So as Tom mentioned there, we're going to have a little chat about in-running markets, which for me is the most interesting one because it's where I'd like to get involved, as you said, front runners and so on. So now we're just going to touch on in-play betting. So last one we're going to touch on this beginner's video is in-running betting on horse racing. So it's a market I like to get involved with, especially with horses that have a tendency to come off the bridle. Explain to everyone how you can use this to your max advantage.
Yeah, so we've all been there, Andrew. We've all seen the horse. We all know the horse that gets pushed along miles out, but he stays on the likes of Native River and Gold Cup. And we've all seen the front runner who's a lunatic like Batash, who he only has one way of going. He jumps out the stalls and he goes pang, and that's it. He's in front. The angle here is that, as I said before, you can back the horse. You can back the horse before the off, or you can lay the horse before the off, and then you either lay it or back it in play. The other angle is that you don't bet before and you just bet in play. So if you expect your horse to be pushed along, I watch a lot of racing in Ireland, and I could tell you some horses who get pushed along from a long way out, and it doesn't bother me because I know that's just their running style. If you get to know a horse's running style, then you know that their price is going to go out in running. The reason it goes out is because to a lot of traders and people, if the horse is getting pushed along, it looks like it hasn't got much of a chance. If you're clued in enough to know that horse's running style, then you can get your better.
That's fair, simple.
Yeah, I mean, look, it can get a lot more complicated. Or if you're another example would be if you're watching a race and you think they're going too fast. Sectional timings are coming into horse racing a lot now, and if you're sat there and you've got your sectional times and you think they're going too fast, you can back or you can lay the horses in running. Some bookmakers are quickening up to it, but their prices are terrible.
Yeah,
They offer horrific prices. I'd stay away from in-play betting with bookmakers. I would definitely do all of your in-play betting on an exchange. You'll find the odds fluctuate a lot more. It's a lot better to bet in running on an exchange. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I think I hope that was informative to all of you. So just to recap, why should everyone convert to betting exchanges instead of traditional sportsbooks?
My main reasons would be you get better value, you get bigger prices on the betting exchange. That's a fact. And if you are getting into this, or if you've been into betting for a while and you've had your accounts restricted, you won't have your accounts restricted on Betfair or BetDAC or any of the exchanges. They want your business because they take their small commission, and that's how they make their money. So if you're putting a lot of time and effort into it only to get your accounts restricted, I would definitely be moving towards the betting exchanges, and you will definitely get bigger odds in the long run on betting exchanges as well. And that goes with all sports. And just to say as well, like, they have an array of sports. They have every sport you could bet with on your traditional bookmaker. We're using horse racing and football as examples here because they're probably the easiest for me to explain, to be honest, because that's what I bet on. But you've got your tennis, basketball, NFL. You've got a lot of things, and because it's two people betting their opinions against each other, you can find your angle. If you back your opinion and you think you're right, go for it. And betting exchanges are where you can go for or against the result.
Right. Thanks for that, Tom. So I hope that answered some of your questions. So if you want to check out all the best betting exchanges, head over to betabin.com and click the betting exchange, where we'll have all the world's best betting exchanges with all the best deals and commissions. So we'll have a link in the description below, and we will have everything you need to know in that section. So again, thanks for watching.